Greetings, Internet, and everyone online. We're excited you guys have joined us for MiiRlive. It's the first ever MiiRlive we've had. We've actually broadcast our Beyond the Bottle event this summer in August, but this is the first sit-down style MiiRlive that we're actually hosting here. We're on location at a really cool venue. But before we introduce you to our awesome guest, he's super inspirational, and I hope you guys just really take a lot away from this interview that we're going to have here pretty quick. A couple things: if you guys use the hashtag MiiRlive, go ahead and retweet that and tell us something inspirational about either something that inspires you, whether it's an activity, a sport, a quote, and we're going to kind of go throughout the show and pick out some winners for a free Mir bottle, some other swag from our partners here. And from then, we're going to go ahead and interview one of my close friends and just a super amazing guy. He's done so many incredible things, and the energy this guy has and the passion that he has for life is so, you just, when you meet him, you guys are going to totally experience this. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. We're on location in Seattle at the old BMW dealership. Is that correct, Richard?
It is.
And Richard Tait, so good to have you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. So Richard, we're going to start off, before we kind of get to the new thing that you guys are up to with Galazzo, you started Cranium, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Invented Cranium I started the company with my buddy Whit Alexander, who we worked together at Microsoft. But the idea for Cranium is one of those classic moments that entrepreneurs have where, we're playing games with friends. You never know where a great idea is going to come from. So you've got to stay on all the time because it could come from anywhere. So we were with another couple, Dan and Maggie, and it was a rainy Sunday, one of those days where you've looked at the newspaper, you've read a book, and you're thinking, what are we going to do next? And they suggested we play Pictionary. We've never been beaten at Pictionary. We can draw a straight line, and I'll be, Mount Rushmore! So we crushed them at Pictionary, and then Dan and Maggie immediately wanted to play us at Scrabble. And they're demon Scrabble players. They keep their scores on the fridge. So they crushed us at Scrabble. And I was sitting there thinking, I was the idiot, and I was sitting there thinking, why isn't there a game that has something in it for everyone? Why isn't there a game that gives everyone the chance to shine?
Yeah.
And from that simple moment on the plane home, I started to sketch it out on a napkin of what a game like that would be like. Then when I got home, I said to my buddy Whit, let's create a different kind of entertainment company. This was when the entertainment industry it was the weakest link. It was you're fired. It was who was going to sleep with whose girlfriend. It was also negative. And we were like, okay, let's do something positive and let's give everyone the chance to shine. And so we started. We'd never been in the games industry before. We were making the games in Kinko's at night, hiding behind people's couches, watching them play our prototypes.
Oh, that's so great.
And then we were off. And it's millions of games later. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. I loved it.
That's
an amazing
so
team.
And
Amazing group of people.
I enjoy playing the game. I know a lot of our people on the site here have played, and Patrick, one of our good friends who works with Richard, he is actually kind of how we got introduced to Richard. Pretty cool. Richard, I think he just met you at a coffee shop, right? He had just come back from New Zealand, was looking for a job and working part-time at a coffee shop. And
yeah, one of the things I love to do in my life, I love finding these gems, these people who have so much potential. I love finding potential. And I would watch Patrick in the coffee store, and with his apron, he was so engaging and charismatic and fun and so focused on customer service. And so I looked at that young man and I said, I'm going to have a chance to do something with you. And so I asked him, what do you want to do with your life? And he came with his notebook with these goals in it, and I was like, dude, you're coming with us. Get on board.
Yes, that is awesome.
Yeah.
So let's step back a little bit and kind of share some of the history of how you came to America, because you're
Scottish.
You're Scottish by nature. Yeah, you're Scottish. You got the
brave heart.
Yeah. So how did you? Rumor has it that you actually came to the U.S. trying to get a job at Apple. Is that correct?
No. So I've been an entrepreneur since I was 4 years old. Always coming up with ideas, crazy ideas. I've sold fish door to door. Don't do that. That's a bad business. There's a shelf life problem with that business. But I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid, and I love doing it. When I went to undergraduate in Edinburgh, I was a computer programmer. That's what I did. I have an honors degree in computer science, and I wanted to go to business school, and I was too young to go to business school in Britain.
Yeah.
So the head of the Scottish business school said to me, young man, you have to go to the country where the pioneering spirit is at the core, is at its genesis.
Yeah.
And that was America. And so much like millions of other people and your ancestors, I came here to pursue the dream of America and my passion, which was being an entrepreneur. So I went to business school. I applied to all these different business schools, but I'd watched, when I was was a kid, I'm motorcycle crazy. I love motorcycles. And when I was a little boy, I used to watch Chips on TV. So it was Eric Estrada on this motorcycle in the sun, and here was I in rainy Scotland. And I was like, okay, I want to go to California. But unfortunately, I didn't get into school in California, but I ended up going to school in New Hampshire, in Dartmouth. I went to business school there. So I wanted to work for Apple. I'd studied Apple since their beginning, and I was so passionate about Apple. But unfortunately, they didn't interview me, so I ended up getting a call from Microsoft in 1988.
Wow, so you were there really early on at Microsoft then.
Yeah, I was 22 years old.
So when you're 22, you're in Microsoft, it's kind of bigger, it's emerging in Seattle. What were you doing at Microsoft? And
it was my first job. I'd gone from being a paper boy to going to work at Microsoft, and my first job was a project manager on something called OS2, an operating system, which was like Geek Central, but it was so crazy, and we were working with IBM and an amazing group of developers, but that pioneering, I've been on 4 waves of innovation. The first wave of innovation I was at Microsoft was client-server computing. Like, people hadn't really seen PCs before. And to be, the mission of that company was to put a computer on every desktop in every home running Microsoft software. I still have the tattoo and all the shirts, and I just loved it. I loved being a part of that innovative spirit. And
that's great.
Then CD-ROMs came along, and I got to work on Encarta and Bookshelf and all those CD-ROMs.
Oh man, I remember my first experience with Encarta, being able to, you could research a topic, and it would show pictures and all the text and everything, and then printers came along. You could print off a photo. I remember printing a photo of Michael Jordan, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever from Encarta. So I guess I have you to thank for that.
No, it wasn't me. There was an amazing group of people that were so passionate about that product, and I just got to go along for the ride. It was an incredible time. And then we discovered the internet, 1994. I just couldn't stop playing. I was up all night, just loved it. And then we ended up we sold the first car with CarPoint. We started Sidewalk, which was a local city guide, which was amazing, 22 cities. It was a fun ride. But at the end of that, it was 10 years. And I'd gone from being part of something so cool at the beginning to now the culture had changed. There's like 50,000 people at Microsoft at that time.
So you're on about 2,000 people up to 50,000. You kind of
40 to 50,000.
Wow. And that's a lot of growth.
And I decided that it was time for me to do something else.
So Richard and I, we've carried a conversation on through the last year when we were introduced to each other, and I want to talk a little bit about your experience over in Africa, because part of our mission at Mir is providing people with clean drinking water, and I think Richard's really encouraged us with our product to kind of go out there and help these people. But you've had an experience over in Africa, and before you left Microsoft, what was that experience like over there?
Changed my life. It's humbling and inspiring at the same time. It was one of those classic Starbucks moments. I was in a Starbucks store. This friend of ours came up and said, what are you guys doing in February? And they said, why don't you come to Africa? We're going to raise money for care in Africa and climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And I was like, the fittest part of me were these fingers. So I could have climbed up Mount Kilimanjaro like that. But sure enough, we ended up going with a really cool group of people, climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and after we got done with the trip, they took us to see the projects that were going to benefit from the money that we'd raised. And that, honestly, struck me in a way that I'd never been struck before. I was 10 years at Microsoft, just so focused on work, and then when you go there and someone asks you in such a simple way, we went to visit this, it was actually a clean water project, and this woman asked us, why do our babies live and their babies die? And that statement, when she said that, when she asked that question of us, and all of us were so struck and struggling with an answer. And it starts with clean water. That was the amazing thing. So good job. The right answer was to try and help, and we were there to put in a pump. And that simple statement she asked is such a beautifully simple question. Why do your babies live and our babies die?
Yeah, it's such an honest question too. Because when you're there and they see where you've come from, or they have this idea of where you come from, and that there's this land of plenty, and there is. But just an honest question of why is this like that?
So I came back from that trip, and I can remember being in London airport and using the water fountain and feeling the water on my lips, and it was so strange because water had been so scarce while we'd been in Africa, but yet we had the privilege in London airport, you just press a button and you have water, and I was so struck by that anomaly for me of how can I pursue this life and feel that I can't give back, I have to do something more. And that was part of creating Cranium and being a company with a conscience was, let's give back. And in that case, we gave back to after-school programs for at-risk youth. But it was the calling of Africa that struck my heart and said, go forward and do well. So you give back as you do well.
Yeah, so you came back and just said, I'm not going to continue on with Microsoft. And were you doing anything between there and starting Cranium, or was it a soul searching?
It was a soul searching journey. So I wanted to be a DJ. I was like, when I was a kid, we had this show in Britain. You guys will all be too young to remember this, but when I was a little boy, we had transistor radios, these little handheld radios, and we had this guy in Britain called John Peel. And John Peel was this disc jockey on BBC Radio. He broke the Sex Pistols, the Damned, all of those bands that I grew up with that I loved. John Peel was the guy that had broken them. So I wanted to be a DJ. I wanted to be John Peel. So I went to Bellevue Community College. After I left Microsoft, I went to Bellevue Community College and I took radio disc jockey classes for about 6 months, and it was brilliant. I was down in my basement, I had all the mixing gear in my basement, and I came up with a little show, and I wanted to do it. And I went to visit with a local radio station in Seattle, had my little show under my arm, and I walked into this person's office, and she destroyed me in 20 seconds. She blew out the candle of inspiration. I will never do this to another person, but she blew out that candle of inspiration in like 20 seconds. Asked me if I thought it was going to be that easy to come in and just get on the radio. And I was willing to do anything. I would have made coffee. I was just like, just let me be a part of this. And unfortunately on that day, she said no. And so I walked out of there with my little show proposal. I tore it up and stuffed it in a trash can, and with tears running down my face, walked around for 4 blocks because my dream had come to an end. And it's so often in my life, it's a door that closes that results in another door that opens. And I often say, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. And for me at that moment, I was flat on my back and I had to pick myself up. And from that struggle and that disappointment emerged the opportunity to pursue Cranium. And for me, that's the best part of that story. Yes, it was so sad and my heart was broken, but
you kept
often
going,
in my darkest moments, I'm at my most creative.
That's great.
That was that moment.
Yeah, and so you basically create Cranium, and what was the journey like that? Because I mean, it's a household game now, similar to Scrabble or Pictionary. I mean, it seems like everybody has played it. I mean, did you ever think it would get that big, or was that your...
We knew people liked it. Whit and I, seriously, we'd hide behind people's couches with our little eyes peering over the back and watch them as they played and gave us feedback, and we would take notes. So we knew that people loved it, and it was an amazing journey and a phenomenal group of people that brought it to life. It was 9 years we were there. We won Game of the Year multiple times, like winning an Oscar. And it was super fun. And the work that we did, I love telling this story. We had these people called Craniacs, the guys that you said played, we had these people called Craniacs, and I love telling this story. We were contacted by this young man who told me that his girlfriend was a huge Cranium fan, and could we do something special for them? And we all thought about it as a team, and we said, okay, let's create a custom version of Cranium for him and his girlfriend. And so we asked them a bunch of questions, and we wrote questions that were specific for their journey. And then, of course, one of the questions was, will you marry me with letters missing? And as that young lady pulled that card, he dropped to one knee and proposed to her during a game of Cranium. It was
that's awesome.
Magic. It was so
cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was great fun.
Now, so you guys had no game experience. You went into an industry that's dominated by Parker Brothers, kind of these bigger companies.
Sure.
How did you start the tipping point? How did you get to a place where it's, everyone has the game, they've played it, they know of it? What was that like? I mean, was it
we started small. Our original intention was to only launch in Seattle, Portland, and in Vancouver. Those were the 3 cities that we thought we were going to launch in. But then we came up with this notion. We manufactured 27,000 games with nowhere to sell them. Don't do that. It was a crazy, silly idea. But people loved it. So we thought, okay, we'll manufacture those games. But Toy Fair is an industry event that takes place in February, and we missed Toy Fair. So unfortunately, we didn't know about it because we weren't experienced. So we had all these games coming with nowhere to sell them. And Whit and I were sitting in a Starbucks store lamenting about what idiots we were that we'd manufactured all these games.
So these games
and we saw all of our customers were standing in line waiting at Starbucks because those were the people that loved our game at that time. And so I said to Whit, let's take our game to where our customers are rather than where games are sold. So we went to the places where we call them dating yupsters, where those people inhabited. So it was Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and Starbucks.
Yeah.
And those were the places that we went to get through. Now, these people were busy people.
Yeah.
Getting into those things were crazy. Amazon.com would be like, this is Richard from Cranium, click, click, click. So we found out who their friends were, and we organized play tests with their friends. So that they went into work the next day, and we're talking about Cranium, and then boom, off we went.
So you had found their friends, and they would organize, like, you'd almost set them up to go play the game.
Yeah, so the next day they were going into work going, hey, have you heard of that game Cranium? And then all of a sudden it was, this is Richard. Hey, Amazon, yeah, for
I
sure.
played it last night.
Yeah, exactly. And so we were off. So always getting creative and finding, ducking and diving. I mean, that's the way it gets started.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
and then we fueled, this was before the internet, so this was fueling word of mouth, was treating our customers, never forgetting that our customers were our sales force.
Yeah.
So we treated them as well as we could, did crazy things for, we had this woman who was having a 40th birthday party in Spokane for her husband. We got a bike messenger to take a game, we found a plane, got the plane to Spokane, we delivered the game before the party started, and for 7 years we got a Christmas card from her thanking us because she was a Craniac.
That is
awesome.
I love that story. I mean, there's so many good things that have come out of that, and just thinking creatively about how you enter into a market. I mean, for us too, we're approaching wholesale where there's tons of bottles, tons of everybody is just packed into the shelves at Fred Meyer and wherever. And we're kind of taking a different approach of just, really engaging with our customers online, and we have this, pretty big following on Facebook and Twitter, and it's amazing. We love that direct connection, and you actually talk to the customers, and it's fantastic instead of just, selling at wholesale and you don't really know who buys your product. It's so exciting to see the people who actually have your product.
Yeah, I have your product.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did. So you guys know, we did this really cool special edition Galazzo limited edition MiiR bottle when they first launched last year, and it's it turned out so great. I mean, the screen printing on this was fantastic.
Yeah, you guys are fabulous to work with.
So we've had a great time working with them. I'm trying to think of the other things that we were gonna talk about here on the show with
Galazzo.
That's right. Let's before we go into Galazzo, we're gonna look around here. So we got let's see here. Thomas, Florida said, "Seeing people that come from nothing becoming successful inspires me." So that is awesome. We're glad that we have Richard here to kind of hear some great stories of coming from Scotland, wanting to pursue this dream, and doing it multiple times too. I mean, it's one thing to just have a lightning strike once, but to do it over and over and over again. You've got something going on for sure, which is really cool to see.
My philosophy, I got this philosophy, so I was so heartbroken with the tragedy of Steve Jobs passing, because for me in my industry and what I've done for a living for so long, he was a hero of mine, and I've embraced a statement that he gave, which is, why be in the Navy when you can be a pirate? And I've been a pirate my whole life, and I love it, and I would rather rebel and try something new and pioneer and break all the rules.
Absolutely.
I would much rather be in that community than conforming.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that if my role today was to inspire one person, if I can affect one person, say I can do it too, then I've done what I can do today. And for me, that statement of why be in the Navy when you can be a pirate, as long as I can be a pirate, then that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of brings us to our next topic here with Galazzo. I mean, we'll show you guys some more photos later on, but we're actually sitting inside the old BMW dealership, which it's almost kind of piracy. You guys totally converted this space. They have an indoor soccer field. We played multiple 3-on-3 tournaments here. Taylor, can you get us a shot? We have the goals back here. It's not full. I mean, it's kind of a put together field, but it's a blast. We play a lot of games here. And how did you guys get to here?
With every company, you have to create a church that celebrates your culture. Mm-hmm. And for us, so you have a place of worship that celebrates your mission. And in Galazzo, we wanted to create a platform for human potential. I mean, our mission is to instill the spirit of you were born to score. Inside everyone is that potential to be born to score. And our rallying cry is we feel football. So we wanted to have a place that we could come and celebrate that every single day. With Cranium, our environment was like a board game. You know, you came into our offices and you entered the game.
Yeah.
And with this space, we wanted to create a space that was just flat out football. And so as soon as you walk through the door, you're on the pitch.
Yeah, it's like right here.
It's right here. So my business partner is a guy called Alex Rosenast, who's super, super cool, and he's a genius at spaces and events. He owns a place up on Broadway called Garage, which is a super cool place. Mm-hmm. But we were struggling. We were in Pioneer Square, my old office, and we wanted somewhere new for the team, and we wanted to create that sense of that place of worship. So we drove by here all the time, and we'd been here to check out cars before. I never thought you could put a soccer field in here. And so a friend of ours, Jim Havens, who works at a company called Creature, tipped us off. We should check out this place. So Alex walks in, and he's so good. You know, he walks in with the palm of his hands out, and he's just like, oh yeah,
he's like, this
is our spot right here. So you know, we took a car dealership. We walked over here and we looked at this space. The other Golazo guy is a guy called Josh Taft, who's a genius movie director and creative director. And he looked at it and he was like, we got to put the field against the wall because that would be more dramatic. Alex looks at the field and he's like, wow, it's great, let's spray paint it white. So we were in here with spray paint cans, spraying the field and painting it. And you know, it's just turned, we've had 1,000 people in here playing soccer with us. You know, I feel so lucky, so lucky to combine a personal passion with a professional pursuit. So rarely in life do you find that intersection, and when you do find it, go for it with everything, every fiber in your body.
Absolutely.
Pursue that dream.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing.
Now, did Josh create that, the minute 30 clip about Golazo?
Yes, he did.
We're gonna go ahead and cut to a quick kind of promo video for Golazo. If you guys don't know, Golazo is a kind of specifically soccer energy drink. It's also a hydration drink.
Yep, hydration plus.
But I love, at Mir, storytelling is a huge part of what we do as far as film and photos and just getting that content out to kind of our followers and just the people that support us. Similarly with you guys have done an unbelievable job with your documentaries, your shorts, and highlighting the stories of really cool people in the community playing soccer.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and check out this promo video. I love watching it. There's some great clips in there. So we'll be back in a couple minutes.
It's something that, you want to scream. It means super goal. Those moments where someone does something spectacular. That's Golazo. I love it. I love the name. We saw soccer players out there. They wanted a product that both energized them and hydrated them when one didn't exist.
We started noticing that kids were mixing Red Bull and Gatorade before soccer games.
They wanted the hydration of Gatorade and the energy of Red Bull.
But it didn't taste great. And we thought, wow, what if we provided something like that, but it was natural?
I only like to put natural stuff in my body.
Yeah, it's good. It's refreshing.
Delicious. It's good. It's actually really good. Refreshing.
We said, how can we create the best tasting drink with the fewest amount of ingredients?
Our product has 10 ingredients. Others have 20, 30 ingredients.
You don't need the chemicals or the food colors or the artificial flavors. Why put them in there?
Anything that's in this product is there for a reason, whether it's to energize you or to hydrate you. Ours is the only one that has that. It was not just about products, it wasn't just about a company, it was about a movement. I feel so lucky. In life, it's so rare you get this chance to take your professional pursuit and marry it with a passion. And in a country where soccer is just emerging as a passion, we can be at the front of that movement and say, this is for you.
All right, that video, I love that video every time, and that song, just with the cans flying through and everything. I mean, it gets me fired up every single time. So, thanks for putting that on. You get whoever it's Josh and the Academy.
The Academy, yeah, those guys are fantastic.
Oh man,
great to work with.
Yeah, their footages and their whole pieces are unbelievable. So tell us, kind of how did Golazo start? I mean, we saw in the video, it's kind of this blend. People are mixing Red Bull and Gatorade, but it didn't taste very good. So What was the aha moment? You know, with Cranium, you're writing on a napkin on a plane.
This one was another moment of darkness. I was at my office in Boom Boom down in Pioneer Square. I had no idea what I was going to be doing next. Alex and I had always talked about, could we do something together? It was April the 16th, 2008, and Mexico were playing China at Quest Field.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. 60,000 people, drums, sombreros. It was fantastic. Everything. It was great. And I was looking at this window just going, wow. And then Cesar Villa chipped it over the Chinese goalkeeper, and they won 1-0. And the place erupted with noise and celebration. And I was so curious. I was like, wow, what could I do for this experience?
Yeah.
And so I started watching soccer on Univision. And every time there was a goal, that I would slide on the carpet and scream at the TV. The commentator was screaming, "Golazo!" And I thought, wow, what a magical word. That word is incredible.
Yeah.
And so I started to learn more about it, and I learned that it meant super goal in Spanish. I was like, wow, I love that word. I got Cranium from So I Married an Axe Murderer with Mike Myers.
Okay,
I
yeah.
watched that movie. Look at that size of Cranium in that one. And then with Golazo, I was just this moment, this inspirational, such a beautiful, beautiful word.
Yeah.
And I thought, let's create the passion brand for soccer. It didn't exist. And so I went to Alex and said, let's do that. Let's create that passion brand. So we discovered the kids were mixing Red Bull and Gatorade, but it didn't taste very good. And we thought, wow, could we create a new generation of functional foods and beverages that was all natural, never been done before, all natural, that would meet that need. And so that was the start of our journey. We started mixing. The first time we carbonated the product, we drove to Target and bought a SodaStream carbonator and carbonated it in the kitchen. It was like, wow, that tastes really good.
Yeah.
So that was us on the start of that journey. And we started with soccer players on the field, really engaging with the people that love the game the most, and in Seattle, and also down in Portland, where we're manufactured in Portland. But just having that Northwest pioneering spirit is what I love. That's why I live here. You know, I just love that we can do it attitude.
Oh yeah, and we have so on the front of every Golazo can is
a young man called Santa Maria.
Santa Maria. Yeah, he played at Seattle U, right?
Yeah, he did. As a freshman, he took them to the 2nd Division National Championship, and he was the captain. He's an inspiring young man. We've just actually created a movie about his life, and we've started to show that to some folks, and hopefully first it'll be his mom. You know, she'll get the chance to see it. But yeah, he personifies, and his journey personifies that born to score philosophy, and that belief inside everyone is that potential to reach their dreams.
Yeah, no, that is it's so inspiring to see a brand that is so passionate about who engages with them, but also you guys just embody it too. I mean, the passion here at Golazo headquarters, and just with the drink. I mean, obviously it's an energy drink, but I mean,
well, our next drink is going to be hydration. So we're going to move from the environment that we're in right now to complement with other moments in people's lives that love football and can rally around that cry. Then we'll keep delivering new products. But we've got new flavors coming.
Oh, nice. So we have another. So there's regular and there's sugar-free.
Yeah.
You guys have some new flavors
coming.
Very cool. So if you guys know, if you're in Seattle, you can pick it up at QFC,
Whole Foods. Yeah, we're in a lot of convenience type stores, but QFC, Whole Foods are the two primary places. We're killing it in Whole Foods, and in Eastern Washington, we're in this place called Fiesta Foods. We're selling a can every 20 minutes over.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's
it's
great.
Fantastic.
No, that is so great to see. Kind of, I mean, because when I met you the first time, it was at Boom Boom down in Pioneer Square, and I remember you guys had kind of your little beakers of Golazo, 1, 2, and 3, and you were still kind of testing everything. And
that was early.
To see it start from there, and I mean, I think the first can you guys had the paper taped around to kind of see it, the image, and
for sure. I mean, that's what the early days. You know what it's like.
Yeah, exactly.
For us,
these prototypes.
the SodaStream carbonator, the cans with where you've printed the label off and you've stuck it with duct tape. And,
exactly.
That's what it's like. And what I loved when I met you, and what I love working with people like you, is when you find a kindred spirit. For humans, it's finding that sense of community and someone who understands and shares the same values that you do.
Absolutely.
And from the moment that I've met you and the other folks that are associated with MiiR, I felt such a sense of collaboration and conviction and compassion.
Absolutely.
And for me, that's the kind of partnerships that I've enjoyed and thrived in.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say thanks to you guys. For all of the kudos you give me, I find the moments that we spend together inspiring, and the work that we've done together I'm incredibly proud of. And
it's been a fun ride, and what's cool with Golazo is we feel that we both kind of have this. We're approaching people. for kind of how Mir was born was most of the bottles in the market were approaching, reducing plastic waste in the landfill, which is noble and great, but our product already does that. And we wanted to kind of attach the human element of, hey, let's give somebody clean drinking water for an entire year when you purchase our product. Like let's make that human connection with you guys.
That's awesome.
There's this dramatic human connection as well for the soccer players and for everyone who's drinking Golazo. There's that passion. I mean,
that's for me. That's what makes life fulfilling.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't love what you do something else. That's my sense of virality and enthusiasm comes because I want to live life to its fullest and I want to love what I'm doing. And I'm so fortunate, as I said earlier, I get to come out here and kick a ball. There's nothing that makes me happier than the thud of a ball against a wall. I mean, I just love it. And whenever I get a break or I'm on the phone, I can come down here and have a conference call and I'm playing footy against a wall. For me, life doesn't get much better than that.
Oh man, that is great. Well, we were just because we play a lot of Foursquare in our office, and we can't, when we were here the other day, we're like, what, this is the coup de grace. I mean, this is where it's happening because you can come and play some 3-on-3 or just kick the ball around.
For sure. And I would say to anyone there, make that decision, make that change in your life where you can put yourself in a situation to make your dreams come true, and it can happen. I'm a perfect example of someone who has taken my life from my home country, came to America to pursue that dream, went from the East Coast to the West Coast to pursue another dream. And you will get knocked down. One of my favorite stories to tell was I was in a car getting taken to the airport one time, and this guy was telling me his life story, and it was so challenged, and he'd overcome so much. And he came around and helped me out of the car as I got to the airport. And with these dark ebony eyes, he looked in mine and he said, "Richard, remember in life, it's not how many times you get knocked down, but how many times you get back up." And he drove off, and I saw those taillights disappearing into the distance, and I wanted him to spend more time with me because I was so inspired, and that sentence resonated. It was circulating in my head because in my life I've been knocked down so many times.
Yeah.
But if you get back up and try harder, your dreams can come true.
Absolutely. Those are great words to live by. I would encourage you guys, we'll post these back on our blog. You'll be able to check out this video after this, but there's so many great little tidbits in here to hopefully inspire you guys. That's why we're doing MiiRlive, is to kind of highlight some of the collaborations that we've been able to be a part of and to showcase some of the amazing people that we get to work with, not only in Seattle, but internationally, and just be part of their story and share what they're up to, and hopefully inspire everyone else to go live out your dream. Life's too short, so
Way too short.
Let's go be pirates.
Pirates! Go Lazo!
All right. Thanks, Richard.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.